Hello, I'm going to be doing a quick discussion about, not discussion, I guess just a one-sided discussion about this album, Earl Sweatshirt's Doris. It's flipped, unfortunately. I might fix it, but from what I can see, it is flipped. This is in fact Earl Sweatshirt's Doris. I do like this album, that's why I own it on CD, sorry. But I like to talk about it, maybe give it a rating, because I know all of you like those numbers, make it nice and easy. But I just want to praise this album for a couple of things, and maybe I'll just point out some flaws because it's definitely not perfect. So I'll start off with some praises I have. First off, I think Earl on this album really shines. His flows are constantly sticky. That's really the best part about Earl, is his flows, his delivery. His lyrics are also fantastic too, but his flow and delivery is just really sticky. It always works. There's not a single flow on this album, or there's not a single verse that isn't really that's nice to listen to, except Guild, maybe. Guild's a little underwhelming. Other than that, every single verse and performance from Earl is just very nice to listen to. And the lyrics too, as I mentioned before, they're all very sort of depressing, if you know what I mean. However, Earl definitely has a bit of a talent for just making funny lines, and well, I guess just clever lines, really, mostly clever, especially on Hive, where it's just a feast of bars. Also Hive, fantastic in Staples verse. It just sounds like really laid back, but at the same time, it just sounds like he has like lots of swagger. Vince Staples. Also the hook on the track is great. Nice job, Casey Veggies. Yes. Yeah. So this album, every single verse is just great to listen to. Highlights are definitely a Whoa, verse 2, Hive, all verses, including Vince. Looking right now. Underrated verse from Earl. He switches up his flow a lot. Well, I mean, doesn't really like switch it up too much, but he does have lots of exciting moments during the verse, especially the outro line. It's like fuck 'em, but there was a gap between the last line and the fuck 'em, so it sounded cool. That's a good moment for Mr. Sweatshirt. Burgundy, beautiful. Oh, Centurion. Centurion is lovely. He sounds so on edge. He sounds like he's about to snap, about to kill someone on this track. It's mostly because of the beat. I feel like I guess the haunting siren noises. I'm not even sure if that's the right term for it, but they sound so great. And Earl's just relentless flow. It sounds so kind of a bit robotic. Not in the sense that imagine a dystopian movie where the robots are about to just snap and take over the galaxy. What else? Yeah, they're all just pretty solid in terms of quality. Another praise I have for this album is I guess just the mood. Really, everything feels super depressed and tired. It's almost as if he was just on his bed when he recorded this album. Definitely not as disgusted and pissed off as I don't like shit, but this just sounds nice and depressed. It's like you're just in bed and you fucking don't want to go to school because you're so depressed or whatever. I don't like shit is definitely much darker though. This is more of just kinda gloomy. Examples of this would be Chum, Burgundy with his lines about his grandmother. It's mostly just his delivery that really like highlights this because Earl tends to sound very tired and laid back, if you get what I mean. Um, on all of his verses, especially on Sunday, where I think it's a real highlight for me, especially with how like kind of like he laces in some passionate um I guess some passionate vocal uh moments. I'm terrible at doing this, by the way, but especially with like I guess he raises his voice like, when I hate you I'm sorry, if you know what I mean. It's great. I love it. If I'm being unclear, then just tell me. I'm completely open to criticism, you know. Um, Also on Chum, a very emotional moment. It's a nice and depressing couple of verses about Earl's dad leaving him and how that affected his outlook on life or whatever. Uh, what else am I looking at? Molasses is pretty. I don't know how to describe Molasses. It's more of a slow, charming little rap track than anything. It's not really aggressive. It's not really like just gloomy. It's more of just like fun, you know. It's just a fun little rap track with a nice flow. Even if it does sound a little sluggish, uh, the flow. I mean, um, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. The production is also very solid all around. There's not really a bad beat. Um, Highlights Hive, Chum, Centurion, definitely Burgundy. Uh, Guild is pretty boring. I don't like Guild if you didn't pick up already. Night feels super powerful, especially with the vocal changes, how they like manipulate the vocals very much. It's it's nice, you know. The features on this thing are very mixed, in my opinion. I think like probably half of them are good or great, and the other half is just pretty meh, garbage sometimes. Like garbage, I refer to Scala Flare, the first verse of the album. Uh, it sounds super awkward and clunky and just rap trash. Um, I don't want to hear this verse again. It's not that good. At least we have Earl's verse at the end, which is very tight. Um, I guess I can go into the better verses before I start ranting about the ones I don't like. The one I don't like. Vince Staples on Hive, Centurion, Burgundy. Mostly on Hive because Burgundy he doesn't really do much. He's more of just I guess he's just a part of the track. He's not really like a featured rapper. But Hive is, as I said before, an excellent tight verse from Staples. Centurion is a nice introduction. Um, yeah, and another one I'd like to shout out would be Frank Ocean on Sunday. Very nice, sticky verse. By sticky I mean like catchy. I guess like he also wears that I guess slow and kind of moody flow that Earl does on most of these songs, and it's a nice like emotional verse about his sexuality, discrimination in school, all that stuff. Uh, Sunday, I just wanted to quickly mention that the hook on there is it's not that good. It's kind of lame. that's about it really. That's all I have to say about that song that I don't like. The hook. The beat is nice. I feel like I'm just kind of lazily describing some of these aspects. Like I'm just describing them as nice. Whatever. Now the feature I don't like is Tyler the Creator on Sasquatch. It's a very edgy verse. Very edgy verse, especially with that line about like hitting up the One Direction concert. Like, come on, man, just let them be, you know. Just don't the One Direction fans like what they like. Don't poop on their parade, as some people probably say. I didn't really like that song either. I guess the beat was a little too muddy for my taste. Different from like a track like Hive, which, well, yeah, the beat is very, I guess, dark sounding. At least it's really like, it feels really eerie with how staticky it sounds. This song, Sasquatch, I'm trying to remember. It just sounds kind of quiet, you know. It just sounds kind of like it's just there to make it not sound like an acapella, if you know what I mean. Mac Miller, he's good verse. It's a pretty nice verse. I like that line where I fucking rock 'cause I know they fertile. That's a nice little line from Mr. Miller. The only problem with Guild is just the beat is pretty boring. The flows aren't that tight. I guess they're tight, but they're not as catchy as like the standard Earl flow. And I guess the pitch down vocals don't really do much for me. Dom with Genesis, great all over the album. Tony Wave Caps, he sounds freaking, how do I say it? He's got bars on the track. He has bars, you know. He's got like a nice little rhyme toward the beginning of that track. And not only are his rhymes tight, but his delivery is nice and loud, nice and expressive. Not that expressive, but like expressive in the way that like he's trying to look cool, and he certainly does. I guess. I mean, I don't really care about if he looks cool or not. I guess it doesn't sound garbage. Night, the closing track, is pretty good. As I said before, the pitch down vocals, I mean the vocal pitching, how it goes down and up, or whatever, that was pretty interesting, pretty cool to listen to. Hoarse, I'd like to talk about Hoarse. This song, Hoarse, not bad but not good. I believe they produced it. That's what Anthony Fantano said. But I like it. It's a very like kind of foggy track, and that's how I describe the instrumental. Nice and foggy, and Earl's he sounds so fed up on this track. Mostly in the second verse. The first verse is sort of just an introduction, but the second verse he sounds like he's about to break down into tears. But no, he doesn't do that. Overall, I'd give this album, I'd probably give it a 7. I mean, it's not like the features are the only bad thing about the album. I feel like some of the tracks here, they kind of only rely on their flow. They're not like fantastic, like a track like Hive or Chum or Whoa, maybe Centurion. I'm mostly referring to the kind of filler tracks like Molasses. Look at the track list right now. Molasses, Guild, Night, kind of, Pre. It's a terrible verse from Mr. Scullaflair. Yeah, so I guess the filler tracks aren't really as interesting, and they kind of they solely rely on Earl's stickiness in his flow. because I guess that's all you want to listen to. Because I mean, people aren't going to hate it if it just sounds good to the ear, but in reality, they aren't as interesting as the more like I guess experimental songs. Not really experimental, but I guess the more interesting songs like Hive. This Hive is definitely my favorite on the album. It's so hard. It's so. It feels so. It feels like a very fuck you track, you know. Especially with Earl's laid back flow. Well, this was a bad video. I'd like to close it out. If you have any feedback or discussion you'd like to lay down in the comments, feel free to do so. I may respond.